Hey guys, welcome to my Elden Ring Nightreign guide. This is going to be mostly relevant for people playing the network test, which as of the time of recording this, has only one session left. Hopefully there'll be another one before the game releases on May 30th, and if there's a strong chance the maps will be different from what we've been able to play during these sessions. That being said, if you're planning on playing Nightreign on release, this video will have a lot of helpful advice I've compiled during my time playing it, which I am sure will come in handy in preparation for the release date. This is not going to be a review. I do want to make one though, so I can go in depth on my thoughts about the game and we'll speculate a bit about what I think the full experience will be like based on what I've seen so far. During this last session, I was finally able to play with some good friends, and as much as I enjoyed playing with randoms, especially when we had good synergy, the game, in my opinion, is meant to be played with friends. It's so much better when you can communicate routing, objectives, strategies, and coordinate attacks. Also, because there were times when we would stop to take a look at our gear and drop items which were a better fit for each other's characters. The first thing I would like to impress upon you is that the game is all about speed and efficiency. You want to be very deliberate about where you're going and what you're expecting to get there. There is literally no time to lose because you need to optimize your run in order to get more runes to level up and improve your chances of getting better gear by hitting as many places of interest as possible. Having good gear and reaching at least level 12 on day 3 is the name of the game, at least for now as the meta develops. A lot of the mechanics in the base game have been tweaked to streamline the gameplay we're used to in order to accommodate this roguelike format. Some animations are faster now, such as the new search sprint and using consumables. Leveling up and recharging flasks is also much faster, as you only need to run by a grace to recharge, and you level up all your stats at once in accordance to your class. Roughly speaking, Wilder seems to favor strength, Duchess Dex, Guardian HP, and Recluse Intelligence. There's no equipment load, so ideally you want to have weapons in all of your 6 slots. Even if it's not a good fit, it could have a passive effect that works for your build, and if it doesn't, it could be a good fit for a teammate later on when you find something better and drop it, as you are often next to each other when new loot is found. You start out super squishy and can die from 1 or 2 hits, but you are usually dropped off near a camp with weaker enemies that you can quickly clear for enough runes for your first level. This is your main priority as soon as you start because that first level will roughly double your HP and give the rest of your stats a nice boost. Then I would recommend going to a church so you can get one more flask charge and maybe some useful consumables, which I feel make more of a difference in this mode than in the base game. Warming stones, for example, become an item that can come in clutch and turn the tide for your party when everyone is out of heals. After that, I usually try to find a place of interest, which can be a camp, cathedral, ruins, mine, rise, fort, or castle for some weapons. Field enemies like dragons and hippos are also a great way to get some higher level weapons, and they aren't as difficult as they are in the base game. So if you see one as you traverse, make sure to pin it or tell your party in comms so that everyone goes at the same time. It'll be faster and then everyone can get some nice loot. Field bosses and place of interest bosses drop weapons and power-ups. Some of them are really useful, like having carrion phalanx around your character constantly, or all kinds of damage boosts. It can be something like 10% bonus damage increase, or charm perks like 20% damage when blood loss is in the vicinity, which is great because it's like having a charm without using up a charm slot. I would avoid trying to solo field bosses unless you're confident in your ability, because if you're downed, you only have 15 seconds to be revived. If your teammates can get to you before you die, then you will lose 1 level and drop your runes. Speaking of which, runes accumulate at the same rate for everyone, which means if I kill an enemy, the whole team gets the same amount of runes I get and vice versa. By the way, if you see a scarab as you're exploring, make sure to kill it as they drop talismans. You start out with common level gear, which is white. This can be equipped at any level. The next tier is rare or blue, which can be equipped at level 3, then purple or epic at level 9, and finally golden or legendary at level 12. You can upgrade from common to rare with 1 basic smithing stone at a smithing table, which are usually by merchants around the map or in the ante room before fighting the day 3 boss. From rare to epic, you need a somber smithing stone, and from epic to legendary, you need a dragon smithing stone, which I haven't seen so far. You can buy basic smithing stones for 10k at any merchant, but I would recommend going to a mine where you can find them for free, and that's also the only place I've seen somber smithing stones. I would recommend upgrading weapons only when they are a really good fit for your build. If you're just looking for more damage, you're better off clearing points of interest or killing field bosses for better weapons. Sometimes Margit will invade you, and if you defeat him, you usually get some pretty good rewards, epic or legendary weapons, and high-level power-ups. If he kills the whole party though, you won't lose the game, but all of you will lose one level and get a curse, which the one time that happened to my team, the curse was taking additional damage. The network test has one map with two configurations. The map retains the exact same topography and location from some of the landmarks, like Spirit Springs, Everjails, Mines, Spirit Hawk Trees, and the castle at the center, with all the places of interest getting switched around. Speaking of which, you'll notice some of them have affinity icons, which represent the kind of damage the enemies deal there, which can be poison, bleed, frost, fire, lightning, or death blight. But you can also find items for that affinity, which is a good way to find items that work for your build, like blood grease if you're going for a bleed build for example. Spirit Hawks are the way you fast travel. When you're first dropped off, you can't control them, but when you launch from a Spirit Hawk tree, you can actually control them and get dropped off outside its trajectory, which is indicated by 3 wisps at the starting point and a single one at the drop-off point. One strat I've come up with is going to the closest church after clearing the first camp and leveling up, and then finding the closest Spirit Hawk to hitch a ride to the next closest church. That way I only have to focus on getting to the last church on day 2, so I have as many heals as possible for the Night Lord on day 3. Each of the 2 maps has a fixed drop-off point, as well as fixed locations for the day 1 and day 2 night bosses respectively, which you can use to inform your routing so that you first explore the areas where the rain circle will start encroaching. There's a lot more to Nightreign as it differs much more from the base game than I expected, but for now I just wanted to make this video as a quick guide you can use to familiarize yourself with some of the basics. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.